Sumedh Thakar, the President and CEO with Qualys. Welcome to Australia. You're visiting from the US, but thanks for joining us on MySecurityTV.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure being out on tour here in Australia.
Wonderful. You're based in Saratoga in California, so hopefully the warm, sunny weather here in Sydney today has been welcoming for you. Maybe a bit of a background into why you're visiting. I take this might be your first visit to Australia for a while.
Yeah, Qualys has been really working closely with our customers here in Australia. We have a lot of customers across banking, government, and many other small, medium business sectors. And our team has been working very closely with these customers, helping them understand how Qualys can really help mitigate the cyber risk. And the opportunity for me to be here and talk to a lot of our customers and our partners directly, hear feedback from them, the challenges that they face from a cyber perspective, and really bring the knowledge that we gain from our global platform and global customer base, and really see how we can learn from the market here in Australia, and then take some of our learnings that we have worldwide and really leverage those to help the efforts that the private entities and the governments here are making to make the lives of the citizens here much safer.
Well, the title of your session today with your partners was Language of Risk. Do you find the language of risk changing in a cyber environment? And at the time of recording today, another significant breach in the news here in mainstream media in Australia. Just how are you finding customers and their perceptions around language? I think is always very important when thinking about risk.
Yeah, I think we kind of have to take a step back and look at what's been happening in the last 10, 15 years. Is people talk about digital transformation, but really it's been about every company out there, whether they're a private entity or a government organization, are really trying to get to that next level by leveraging digital experience of their customers, their users, as a differentiator, and really leveraging that as a way to leapfrog to the next level. And so you have a lot of companies today all over the world that are writing software, and really that means that there's trillions of lines of code being written out there. And so there's not a surprise that we see more and more vulnerabilities are coming out now, and attackers clearly see that this is a way for organizations, for them to really be able to make monetary benefit out of that. And so when you have more issues that you have to deal with, and a staff that is really not as many people that you would like to hire can be found in the market. How do you kind of focus on what is really causing risk to your environment and make that an equation that fits in the business language? And risk is a well-known part of the business language, but it has not really been that applicable to cyber in the past, because everybody keeps talking about the projects that they do in cyber, and the questions that are coming up from the board more recently are, how are we tying our spend in cyber to the risk, and how much risk is being mitigated by that? And so that language gap has been becoming wider and wider, and that's why it was really great to come out here and have that conversation with the CISOs here as well.
Well, I understand you're going to Canberra tomorrow. Any early takeaways out of your meetings today in Sydney?
I thought we had fantastic conversations, not just here in Sydney, but last couple of days in my conversations in Brisbane and Melbourne, and a day before that in Auckland in New Zealand as well. And to see really the focus that the government entities and private organizations here are putting on, whether it's the Essential 8 or the Critical 10 over in New Zealand, really the focus on getting down to the basics, focusing on hygiene, and the conversation about how do we quantify risk, and how do we have a conversation around risk with the board, but also with the IT teams, so that all of us can be on the same page and really focus on fixing the issues that are the most important to the organization and cause the most risk, has been very, very well received. And I got very positive feedback from the CISOs who really are facing this challenge on a daily basis, because they just have too many things to deal with, and they're trying to weed through all the different signals and all the different devices, and trying to really answer 4 basic questions that they struggle with, which is, what do I have in my environment? And very few people really know how to answer that. What is my risk? How do I quantify that? And then what is the best way and the most cost effective way to fix that risk? And then the last part is, am I protected? Right, at the end of the day, you just want to know, I've invested in all this, am I protected? And the feedback was overwhelming that really these are the basic questions everybody's trying to answer, and any help that they can get in that direction is really the opportunity for all of us to work together, to see what we can come up with that's really going to help them.
Where do you see a gap, or do you think the clients and customers are using the sophisticated tools that you provide on the platform, and do you find that there is a gap? Is it decreasing? Do you find, particularly say in Australia and New Zealand, the sophistication of the IT teams and are really using the tools that they have in these cloud platforms to the best that they can? Yeah, what was your observations maybe compared? I mean, Qualys is across 130 countries, but you come in with a nice US perspective post-pandemic. Where do you find that sophistication for the Australian, New Zealand teams?
That's a great question. And it's really interesting that technology has been a great equalizer across the world. So the problems that folks are facing out here in New Zealand, Australia are exactly the same problems that people are facing out in Europe or in UAE or in India or in US. And so, which means that the solutions that we are working on are applicable everywhere. And so what we see is that in markets where they are starting the digital transformation more recently in the last few years, like Australia. There is a better opportunity to leapfrog some of the learnings that people have had in other regions and really able to make better utilization of the newer capabilities. And so what we see is definitely a strong interest, and we see a lot of energy in making sure that we are jumping directly to the more modern solutions, because you're not weighed down by some of the older on-prem solutions, etc. And so there is definitely a lot of interest in simplicity, cloud-based solutions. We're seeing the adoption of the cloud rapidly here in this region as well, and that's one of the reasons why Qualys really invested in putting a platform out here in Australia, so that we can really work on the data residency requirements that the government has here, as well as working through the IRAP certification process, so that we can ensure that customers here can leverage modern capabilities and technologies, which they are very, very interested, so that they can get to the end goal much quicker and faster and don't have to go through on-prem solutions that other regions have kind of dealt with and learned from those mistakes.
Did you find customers certainly understanding what IRAP is, but the significance of that as sort of the next step?
Yeah, the customers want to be compliant with the government regulation. I think the government is really looking forward to ensuring that the local entities' data is protected, and they have requirements from any vendor who wants to provide services and cloud services out of Australia. And so I think that's a very good positive step in ensuring that certain requirements are met for anybody who wants to go through that process. And by doing so is really helping protect the data of the entities, the government, as well as the citizens out here in Australia, right? And I think our customers understand that, appreciate the effort that Qualys is putting in to make sure that we are out here and providing the local support and making an investment locally, so that we can meet the requirements that the government is trying to put in place here.
Well, it's always good to see the president and CEO come out and actually come and meet customers face to face. What's your clear call to action, I suppose, when you talk to customers and your point of difference, I suppose, in the market, other than years? And I think this is a fair point. Yeah, Qualys is approaching sort of a 25-year anniversary, and you've been with the company for about 20 years too. So you've seen a lot of change, and Qualys was really before its time, or one of the first out into the market as a SaaS platform. Yeah. What's your key point of difference? And obviously pedigree and experience is going to be a standout there as well.
Certainly, I think for me, I'm an engineer at heart and a product person for many years. And so to me, I really like to come out and have these conversations directly with the customers so we can hear firsthand. And Qualys has always been a very engineering and product-driven organization. So we lead with innovation on the platform first, and then go to market second. And so No customer for us is too small or too big, or so being out here talking to these customers, getting direct feedback is really important, and that's why I wanted to make this trip personally, so that I can really have that face-to-face interaction. And as we come out of COVID, certainly great to see people there. And look, I think Qualys 20 years ago really innovated by saying that SaaS can be used as a way to deliver scalable, cost-effective security. We were, one of the first ones, and very early on, and it took a long time for other folks to really catch on to the cloud. And of course, today cloud has become more of a fashion statement, and people talk about how they're cloud first and cloud native, etc. But what we've always focused on is how do we. The ask from customers is clear. They want to simplify cybersecurity, not complicate it. They don't want 50 different solutions that they have to deal with, trying to make them work with each other. So customers want to focus on the basics. They want to focus on the hygiene. They want to focus on risk management. Instead of focusing on how do I deal with a breach later, they really want to put investment in making sure that they actually prevent breaches by making sure that they are discovering the riskiest assets and the riskiest vulnerabilities and patching them before the attackers can get to that, right? And so folks really want a way to simplify security. They want to know what they have in their environment. They want to know what the risk is. They want to be able to have a plan how to fix it, and then actually find a way to fix it, right? And this is really where Qualys has been pioneering, is instead of just telling you everything that is wrong, we are really providing more and more automation for customers so they can actually fix the issues that they are seeing in an automated way and simplify their security program so that they don't have to go and do so many manual things. And so it's about winning 1 inch at a time in many ways, and so one patch at a time. So every patch you deploy before an attacker gets to it is a big win. And so instead of just sort of being in the status quo of can I give you a big list of all the CVEs that you have to deal with, can I help you fix 30, 40, 50% of those, so your limited resources can focus on mitigating the other set of risks that you have in your environment. And that's really kind of what the learning for us has been, is customers struggle with the basics. They need help to find their assets. They need a way to quantify the risk, and then after that they need a way to just fix those things. And that's really the basics that we're focusing on.
How important, I suppose we're hearing a lot of conversations around efficiency and automation. How important is automation to you and to the platform, and how much R&D sort of focus do you have on, as you say, just simplifying it, but then also doing a lot of the heavy lifting where the cyber teams just don't have the time or the resources?
And that's what it is, right? You have a lot more vulnerabilities being discovered on a lot more assets than you ever had, because everything is going digital. At the same time, not enough talent available in cybersecurity. So what's your solution to be able to address the challenges in terms of actually fixing the issues that are coming up? I mean, in a perfect world, you would have no vulnerabilities, but unfortunately, like I said earlier, as more and more companies have been writing more and more code, vulnerabilities are increasing, and the weaponization time is decreasing. And so there's not enough folks that are on the team that can go and make an impact. And so the only solution that a lot of people really see is a way to automate certain types of issues and vulnerabilities to remediate those, so that the limited staff that you have can maybe focus on your highly critical assets. As an example, Google Chrome releases highly exploitable vulnerabilities, which are patches that they release. And when something like that happens, do you really want your limited resources to go and manually update every employee laptop to the next version? Could you leverage automation from Qualys there to really take care of something like that, so that as nobody has to touch it, and all of these kind of vulnerabilities get taken care of within 4 hours, 8 hours? And so then the limited resource that you have can really focus on maybe some of your critical assets to do some manual testing, etc. So that's why I said earlier, it's really about taking more and more of that manual process off the table. And that really, to me, seems like the only solution if you're going to be in an environment where more vulnerabilities are going to come out and less people are going to be available to fix those manually.
I suppose one last question is, what should the expectations be of your customer? How do you work with your customers? We spoke to your regional vice president here in the Australia and New Zealand late last year. So, but again, from a presidential and CEO level, what's your instruction to your teams, and then what should the expectation be of customers, how you work with them? Because again, SaaS platform, very powerful. So it's really got to make sure that they get the benefits out of it.
Look, technology is only one aspect of it, right? And we have innovated from a technology aspect of it, but customers today need help to understand how they can get a outcome of it. And this is really what I tell the team, that focus on the outcome that we are able to provide our customer, because they care about the outcome, and the outcome that a security professional cares about is mitigating their risk. And so instead of going and talking about the features that we have, how can we work with our customers to give them a solution that is going to meet the end-to-end need, not just that I have a great platform that's going to tell you everything that's wrong. Okay, well, there's many other things that are telling me what's wrong. How are you going to help me fix it? And so we have an interesting model where our account managers are very technical. They are professionals who have been doing vulnerability management in their previous roles, and so they can work directly with our customers to really help them and meet their goals that they have in terms of risk mitigation. And in the process, they can talk about the capabilities the platform can bring to them. And so we always lead with a customer first approach here, because at the end of the day, it's not, we are a SaaS solution, and we build long-term relationships with our customers, many customers over more than 10 years with us. And the idea here is that we're not here to try to just do a quick sale and disappear. We want to be able to work with our customers to find additional capabilities that Qualys can provide to these customers to meet their end goal, which is reducing their risk. And if we can do that, then customers will continue to work with us and look at additional things that we can do. But if not, then of course they're not going to do that. And so my focus to the team is, let's scale for our customers. Let's make sure that we are available to explain how they can get an outcome. And then we work closely with our partners, because partners are a big part of our ecosystem, and they are really providing solutions. Because many customers, it's not just about the technology. They don't even have the resources at times to implement the technology and get outcome out of that. And that's why they go to partners. And so Qualys is not in the business of doing professional services and managed services. So we really work closely with our partners to providing them top-notch technology, which then they can leverage to provide the intelligence that is needed from a human perspective at times to help these customers really achieve their goals of risk reduction.
Nice. And I think given the speed of technology, as you say, customers need help, and you can't help. You can't get that help without partnering as well. And I think the longevity that Qualys has had in the market and that strong brand is a testament to that approach. So Sumedh Thakar, the President and CEO with Qualys, visiting here in Australia and New Zealand. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your trip and safe travels. But thank you very much for joining us on our MySecurityTV and our Tech and Sec Weekly.
All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate the candid conversation. I look forward to coming back, visiting again, and getting back on another call with you and talking more about the progress that we have made.
Wonderful. Thank you, Sumedh. Enjoy your day.
Thank you.